This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our broadcast affiliates and satellite programming providers. If you'd like to find out about us, it's very simple. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. Our website is www.xzoneradiotv.com. And for the X-Zone Broadcast Network, to find out all about our shows, the great hosts we have, the shows in our broadcast schedule, visit www.xzbn.net. We're going to be talking this hour about a new book that is just out. It's called Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. And it is by a gentleman I've had the pleasure of meeting in person as well as here on the show a number of times, Len Kasten. Len is a UFO researcher and freelance writer. He is a former member of the National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomenon and the Mutual UFO Network, a feature writer with more than 50 published articles in Atlantis Rising and New Dawn magazines, and the author of The Secret History of Extraterrestrials and Secret Journey to Planet Serpo. He lives in Casa Grande, Arizona, and joining me now is Len Kasten. And Len, welcome back to the X-Zone.
Hi, Rob. Nice to be with you.
Nice talking to you, Len. I've got to tell you, the good people at Bear and Company sent me a copy of your book a couple of weeks ago. And I get a number of books here on a weekly basis. Your book kind of grabbed my attention, and I want to thank you for a couple of sleepless nights. Because instead of sleeping, I ended up reading your book. And that is not something I usually do, Len. But I know you. I know your passion. I know the way that you like to dig into a subject and totally exhaust any and every route before you write things. So why don't you tell us, first of all, a little bit about what was it that drove you to write your new book, Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race?
Well, the more I investigated the claims of David Icke and some others, I began to see the connection. But, of course, the precipitating factor was coming across the book by Robert Morningsky, which is very, very difficult to get, and has not been published. So I had kind of secret access to it, really, and that was the key. That was the thing that pushed me over and made me decide to do the book.
A lot of people have read the articles by David Icke and have heard about the reptilians, and the majority of people say, no way, no way. What did you find during your research? Are reptilians real?
Absolutely. There's no question about it anymore. I mean, it's coming in from a number of sources. Anybody who goes on YouTube will get deluged with stories about the reptilians.
Do you think there could have? I'm sorry for cutting you off. I didn't think that I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. But is it possible that the snake in the Garden of Eden was not the serpent that we associate snakes with, but was actually a reptilian?
Well, that's my point of view. Yeah, I made that point of view in the book. Yes, I think so, because that particular account, in Genesis of creation, does not match with anything else. There were two distinct descriptions of the creation of the human race, and that one is not the right one. The other one that says male and female, he created them, that's the correct narrative.
How long did it take you to write this book? Like, it's got great color plates in it. It's filled with information. What is it? I think it's just over 300 pages.
Yes, right.
314 pages. Yeah.
Yes, it took about a year, Rob.
Was there
just about a year?
Just about a year, and I know that you're a busy guy doing lectures. You go to symposiums, exhibitions. Where did you find the time to slide a book in?
Well, I had a period of time where I was less active doing some of my consulting work, which I do also. I do some software consulting as well, and it just fit in nicely into my schedule. But I was really determined to write this because I felt the timing. It was important to get this information out now.
And as they say, timing
for some reason, I'm not sure why, actually.
And as they say, timing is everything. Speaking about timing, my friend, you and I have to take a commercial break, so please stand by. Exo Nation, our special guest this hour is a gentleman I've had the pleasure of meeting in person and talking to a number of times here on the Exo. Len Kasten is his name. We're talking to Len about his new book, Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. And you can visit Len's website at www.et-secrethistory.net. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, Len Kasten, and I return on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing. Old Florida cuisine at its best.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Len Kasten is our special guest. Len has a brand new book that is out. It's called Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. You know, long ago, the Galactic Federation sent the Atlantans, a fierce group of humans from the Pleiades, to Earth to confront the newest colony of the combative, ever-spreading alien race known as Reptilians. The ensuing battles sank the continent of Lemuria and drove the Reptilians underground beneath the Indian subcontinent as well as to Antarctica. Able to shapeshift to appear human, the Reptilians then infiltrated the Atlantean civilization, abducting humans and creating reptilian hybrids. As Len Kasten shows in this groundbreaking work, this technique of infiltration and hybridization prior to an all-out attack has been the hallmark of reptilian conquest throughout the galaxy. For more information on Len, his website is www.et-secrethistory.net. During the commercial break, we briefly talked about the book that was written by Dr. David Jacobs. Can we bring our audience into the discussion that we were having?
Certainly. David's new book, the Walking Among Us, the Alien Plan to Control Humanity, he touched on a major segment of this story, but he didn't go further because he's a very careful researcher, and he wanted to limit his story to just the fact that so many hybrids have been created and are being created constantly, and that's the reason that this particular book is a good introduction to mine, really.
I'd just like to share with our listeners, Len, the three parts of your book. In part one, it's called The Era of the First Star Wars. Some of the chapters include The Green World and Beyond, The Empire of Death, Queen of Stars, The Alliance, The Queen's Flagship, and Star Wars. Part two is Reptilian Colonies on Earth, and part three is Modern World Wars and Beyond. Interesting book, Len. Congratulations on a great book. And like I said, filled with pictures, filled with color plates. Only one thing, Exonation, when you pick it up and start reading it, forget it. You know, you're going to keep on going. It's just one of those books. Len, I was wondering if you could explain to our listeners the fourth dimension and how the reptilian race is able to impact the human race that is here in the third dimension.
Well, they do it primarily through what we call the dreamscape. What we consider lucid dreaming is really taking place in the dreamscape, and they inhabit the lower fourth dimension. That's really where they reside. And in order to come into the third dimension, it takes a lot of energy. That's why they actually require human flesh and blood to do that. And James Bartley talked about that at length, and several other writers have talked about it. Have a lot of information. Stuart Sverdlow is another one. The point is that from that vantage point, they were able to control us completely because we're not able to enter into that realm consciously. And the only way we'll be able to do that is as we expand our consciousness, which they're afraid of, and they're trying to keep us from doing. Once we expand our consciousness, they will no longer have that control.
In your book, Len, Plate 21, leaked photo of U.S. dumb base. Are these the underground bases that you talk about in your book?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the one I focus in on is the one in northern New Mexico. That's of course the Dulce base is the most well known and the most famous, and that's the one that Phil Schneider talked about before he was killed, and many others.
So,
and I've given a schematic of that particular base in the book.
Yeah. How many underground bases are there in the third dimension that are basically reptilian bases presently on Earth, based on your investigation into the subject?
In the third dimension, did you say?
Yes, third dimension, yeah.
Well, Schneider said he personally worked on 130.
Wow. So
they're all over the globe, and the underground United States is riddled with them. And as I pointed out in the book, they have a high-speed train system that runs at supersonic speeds that crosses the United States. So they can be anywhere in a matter of an hour in the third dimension. But from the fourth dimension, it's a whole different story.
So how do they interact from the fourth dimension to those of us in the third dimension?
They do it two ways. In an article that I just wrote for New Dawn magazine, I discussed that and explained it. They do it primarily through. They do it two ways. They do it during abductions. Mm-hmm. Even though they dwell underground, they have spacecraft that can come up above the ground and take off for the stars if they want to. So they can appear to be coming from outer space when they're really coming from underneath. So they've been abducting millions and millions of people all over the world. That story, of course, is well known by now. And then the other thing that they do is and so a lot of the programming takes place on the spacecraft. However, because they have control over the dreamscape, people can be programmed while they sleep in their own beds. And that happens probably more than the abduction scenario. But in any case, they're creating hybrids at a very rapid clip now. And eventually they're hoping to start replacing humans with hybrids all over the globe.
Based on your research, is it true that the reptilians have been here on Earth longer than humans?
Yes, absolutely. They were here first. According to Stuart Sverdlow, who I relied on heavily for his cosmology and for his archaeological information, they really arrived here about 1 million years ago. And they came here to do whatever they wanted to do with our planet before anybody else, any humans appeared on Earth. And when they arrived, they destroyed a planet that was the third planet in line in our solar system that we called Maldek. They literally destroyed it completely, and it became the asteroid belt. After that, they moved our planet into the third position from the sun. They have that technology to do that. They're able to move huge Death Stars around and planets around and hollow them out. They've got tremendous technology.
Is their main goal to enslave humanity then?
They already have enslaved the inhabitants of 21 star systems in this galaxy, according to several writers, Alex Collier, Wes Penry, and many others, Branton. So we're the new frontier for them. They want to take over this particular solar system because it's very strategic. It's a very strategic solar system. And that's their goal here, is to take possession of this the entire solar system.
Why are we so strategic, Len?
Well, for the most part, it has to do with what they call the reptilians call the Pesh Meten. That's their language, which means it's the broad highway that goes from the outer fringe of the galaxy to the central portion of the galaxy. It's like the Route 95 of the galaxy. And so they control that. And they have controlled it for many, many, many thousands of years. So the other thing about Earth is that it's also a tremendous diversity of flora and fauna not found very easily anywhere else in the galaxy. It's a very unusual planet. So this particular solar system is important to them, and for many strategic reasons. And that's probably their main motivation.
Len, I was wondering if you could discuss the nature and makeup of the reptilian race. What can you tell us about them?
Well, according to the book by Robert Morningsky, which is really my main authority, they have the ability to. Originally, they had the ability to fly. Mm-hmm. Actually, they had wings, and that's because Morningsky claims they evolved from a species of dragonfly millions of years ago, and that gave them the edge on their particular planet, which Morningsky calls the Green World, but really was a planet in the Draco star system. So he claims they evolved from the dragonfly over millions of years, whereas Swerdlow takes the position that they just appeared there, and we don't know where they came from or how they evolved. Just as we don't know how the human race appeared in this galaxy, which they did in the star system Lyra, many, many light years distant from Draco. So the humans were living in Lyra, the reptilians were living in Draco, and what happened was eventually, since they had very sophisticated spacefaring technology, they eventually encountered Lyra, they attacked Lyra, they slaughtered 50 million humans and destroyed 3 planets, and that was the beginning of the whole, let's just say, the whole struggle that we have with the reptilians. That was where it all started.
What is the connection between the reptilians and the Nazi Party?
Well, in the research I did for Secret Journey to Planet Serpo, I realized that the reptilians had helped the Nazis in many ways. And in fact, they had a colony under Antarctica for many thousands of years.
Wow.
And they invited their Nazi colleagues to have their colony there. So that was the connection between the Nazis and the reptilians. The Nazis built their base in Antarctica in 1938, which was even before World War II. And because the reptilians were helping them with their technology, and they were really connected. And so that's the connection. Apparently, the reptilians were backing the Nazis for several reasons. Fascism, in and of itself, is basically a form of enslavement of everyone else on the planet.
Right.
And that's basically the reptilian approach also. So they were the ones that were motivating the fascist takeover, and they hoped and thought that it would be worldwide. But unfortunately for them, it wasn't. Fortunately for us, it wasn't.
Where do you think, or what do you think the stellar origin of the reptilians race actually comes from? Do we have any idea?
Yeah. Morningsky tells us, and others have validated this, that it comes from the constellation Draco, which is about 300 light years from our solar system.
Wow. And
they inhabited several planets in the Draco star system, which is a very large star system, by the way. And so that's all we know. But Morningsky claims they evolved from dragonflies on their planet in Draco. We don't know that. It's a stretch. According to Alex Collier, according to Stuart Sverdlow, they just appeared in Draco, that they could have come from another dimension. They could have come from another time system.
But we just don't know where they come from.
We don't know where they came from.
Len, stand by.
We do know they were here first. That's all we know.
All right. Len Kasten is my guest. www.et-secrethistory.net. And Len will be back with me on the other side of this news break, discussing his new book, Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. And it is published by our good friends at Bear & Company. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Len Kasten and I return on the other side of the news. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the four corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today. www.soulbalancing.world.
Welcome back, one and all. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and Kasten is our special guest this hour. He's got a brand new book out entitled Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. His website, www.et-secrethistory.net. Well, first of all, Len, congratulations on the new book. Thank you so much for coming on the show to share with our listeners.
Thank you, Rob.
Len, I was wondering if you could tell us what the relationship between the Reptilians and the Greys are, or is.
The Reptilians are really the dominant race. They control the Greys completely. The Greys are really hybrids. They're a hybrid creation, and according to my investigation, my research, they're a sort of a cross between a civilization from Sirius, the Sirius constellation, and the Reptilians. And the Reptilians have created a lot of robotic species like that. They have that technology. They have cloning technology. They have all of that. They've had it for millions of years. And I made that point in the early part of my book. But so the Greys sort of carry out the drudgery work. They do the abductions, and they find it easier to coexist in the third dimension than the Reptilians do. So the Reptilians enter the picture when they need to.
Gotcha. And I was wondering if you could explain to us how the reptilian bloodlines connect them to the Illuminati.
Okay, according to David Icke and others, according to Sverdlow, hybrid individuals who have about 45% reptilian blood, they tend to be considered to be the Illuminati because they are given the best jobs on the planet. They are all very, very wealthy, and they control the banks, they control the media, they control us, period. They control what the movie with Keanu Reeves was in, The Matrix.
Right.
Because we live in the Matrix, and we live in the Matrix that they have created for us. And that the reptilian bloodline contains a very high component of copper, and the copper gives their blood a bluish tint, and that's why they become known down through history as the Blue Bloods, who really ruled all of Western civilization through their hierarchy, through the hierarchies, and that's where the term Blue Bloods comes from.
So, as far as their mission, are all reptilians evil and intent on conquering the human race?
You know, the word evil is not a word that really applies here. And the reason for that is that the reptilians do not have a heart chakra. They don't have the ability to love at all. They're built just to be warlike and to dominate throughout the galaxy. That's all they do. In other words, when they explore a new solar system or a new planet, they're not going there to introduce themselves to the inhabitants and hope to have a nice relationship with them. They're there to dominate and to find whatever they can use and to use it for their own use, their own ends. That's just their nature.
Could it be said that?
It's not. However, it's not our nature.
Could it be said then, Len, that the reptilians represent another species in the universe? That the reptilians are their workforce, their army, and that the reptilians have the Greys as their workers? Is it possible that there is a higher hierarchy within what we know to be the reptilians right now that is yet to be discovered?
It's very possible, but it's very hard to conceive of any civilization that would have as much power and as much domination as the reptilians. To be able to control 21 star systems and to set up a system that works to administer those 21 star systems, which I do discuss in the book, that takes a tremendous amount of development. And there may be species in this galaxy that are much more advanced than the reptilians, but we have no contact with them as enemies. We do know about the Federation, however, and that's a whole different story. We can talk about the Federation if you'd like to get into that subject now.
Well, before I get into the Federation, once again going into your book, I love the color plates. Plate 1 is a reptoid warrior, and then plate number 2 is anomaly figures, 19,000 years old, and they definitely look reptilian.
Yes, absolutely, they do.
So after reading your book, Len, I'm starting to think that everything we think we know isn't the truth.
Well, we've never really understood our origins, human origins. It's been debated for many. Certainly Darwin did not have the answers. We know that. There's no connection for instance, between us and the species immediately preceding ours. So we needed answers to these riddles.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an answer. We know we haven't been on this planet very long. Sverdlov says 40,000 years. That the human, what we call Homo sapiens sapiens, is about 40,000 years old. That's when we were created. So the reptilians were here 200,000 or 300,000 years before that. It's a long and complicated story. Let's put it that way.
Also, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's a very, very, very large galaxy, and there are entities much superior to us and much superior to the reptilians out there. And fortunately, we have a lot of them on our side and they're helping us. But they can't do it for us. All they can do for us is help us to expand our consciousness, and that's what they have been doing. And that's the key. That's the key to us resisting what the reptilians are trying to do to us, which is to enslave us.
In your book, plate number 8 is a painting of King Clovis. What is his connection to your book, Alien World Order?
Well, the reptilians were really behind the advent of the Catholic Church through Constantine and through the Roman Church. And Clovis was the key to the Catholic Church taking over pretty much all the whole civilized world. His conquests in the 8th century, I believe it was, I can't recall, made the difference. It was the breakthrough that started the Holy Roman Empire. And that's why the publisher thought it was important to put that plate in there, and I agreed with him.
You were talking about the Federation, and I kind of veered away from that to talk about a couple of plates. But tell us about the Federation.
Well, when the reptilians attacked Lyra and destroyed 3 Lyran planets and slaughtered 50 million, those humans on Lyra, or in the Lyran system that had spacefaring technology, scattered throughout the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And as the others developed spacefaring technology, they also inhabited other star systems. But they always stayed in touch with each other, and that became a human diaspora, you might call it, in this galaxy. Because now we had human civilizations all over the galaxy. If that hadn't happened, we might never have left Lyra. But because of that, we scattered to several different star systems, and including another galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy. So, the humans stayed in touch with each other and eventually created what we now know as the Federation. Initially, they called themselves the Galactic Federation. Some call it the Galactic Federation of Light, and some call it the Collective. No matter what you want to call it, those 110 civilizations are what we call the Federation.
If the reptilians are as bad as you say they are, and I'm not doubting you whatsoever, Len, why doesn't the Federation do something about it?
Because we have free will. And they're hoping that we will eventually get to the point where we will not need their physical help or their, let's just say, military assistance, which they have the weaponry to destroy reptilian bases all over the planet if they choose to. But they're not going to do it for us. They're waiting for us to develop a point of expanded consciousness, at which point the 100th monkey concept will take over and spread rapidly. and also our technology. And once we've reached that point, the game is over. We don't need them anymore, really. We become part of the Federation. So that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that we will do it ourselves. They're not going to do it for us. That's the ball game.
Well, how can people listening tonight, Len, start to expand their own consciousness?
Okay, for anyone that has the book, there is an appendix in the book. It's titled Appendix C, and my title for that appendix is The Path to Victory. The Path to Victory was written essentially by an extraterrestrial named Kyla, Khyla, who was from the Procyon star system. Procyon is a member of the Federation. They were a member of the Federation. However, the Reptilians basically enslaved them. The Greys did it, actually, and they became refugees. So Kyla is essentially a refugee from Procyon, and he's the one that wrote that particular appendix, giving us the key to how to win this game. And the way to do it is we have to expand our consciousness. And he gives us instructions as to how to do that, how to focus our attention on certain things, and how to make sure that we focus on the light in the galaxy, not the dark. And as we do that, as we grow more and more in consciousness, eventually the game will be over, because the Reptilians depend on us being dumb and dumber. They do all they want to do is keep us dumb and dumber and keep our consciousness at a low level. Once we start to expand that, then that's it. The ball game's over.
It seems that we're doing that on a daily basis when we
are doing it.
Yeah.
Yes, we are doing it more and more, and it's I'm seeing signs of it happening more and more.
I'm sure that it can be accomplished much faster if everyone put down their iPad, their iPhone, and started thinking for themselves instead of being manipulated by the media, as well as the manufacturers of a lot of the software that is out there that is dumbing
the Illuminati have given us these toys to play with to distract us from what we have to do, which is to focus on expanding consciousness. These are just games they've given us to keep us at a low level of consciousness.
You know, smart cars, these smart cars do everything for you. I call smart cars make dumb people.
Yeah, exactly. And smartphones, too.
Exactly. Len, stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exonation, Len Kasten is our special guest. We're talking to Len about his new book entitled Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. And if you'd like more information about Len, his website is www.et-secrethistory.net. Len Kasten and I will return on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. To find out about all the programming that we have 7/24/365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and to listen to our live feed, all you have to do is go to www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now.
No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Len Kasten is our guest, www.et-secrethistory.net. Len has a new book out entitled Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race, and it's available everywhere, online and offline. And once again, Len's website is www.et-secrethistory.net. Len, what are the major Illuminati organizations or groups that you were able to discover and expose?
Well, primarily we know, of course, about the Freemasons, and probably that is their major organization. They have many others, but that seems to be the primary one. And most of the high Illuminati are at the highest levels of the Freemasons, up 33rd degree, and even above the 33rd degree, and they are let in on the secrets. Those in 3rd degree and below just get a smattering of innocuous information. But once they get up there towards the 33rd degree, which, by the way, Harry Truman was, and many others that we know of, they run the economy, they run the financial system throughout the world, they run the media. And so they have control our consciousness, basically, and they can produce the kind of propaganda that keeps them in power and keeps us in the dark.
Would you say that the new president of the United States is well aware of these reptilians and the Illuminati and who's involved and what they're up to?
I don't know. I don't know what he's all about at this point. I do know that, of course, being a billionaire, he's up there with the rest of the Illuminati, who are all extremely wealthy. He seems to be a rogue. He seems to be a renegade, but that may be just an illusion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know that certain times when he's been photographed sitting in a conference, he has his fingers and his hands in the traditional Illuminati signal.
Really?
His fingers, yes. So that made me think that probably he is Illuminati, yes.
Well, weren't there several pictures of George Bush with the hand and finger signals of the Illuminati taken throughout his presidency?
Yeah, the finger signals where they show the two horns.
Yeah.
Bush has been photographed that way many times. Trump has not. Trump makes a small circle with his hand, and that's also another one. You notice that whenever he gesticulates when he's speaking, he makes these small circles with his fingers.
Yeah.
But he also, when he's sitting down, he makes a triangle with his two hands, and that's a classic symbol of the Illuminati.
Well, I'm sure our audience is going to pay a lot more attention to the president when he's speaking on television, thanks to you, Len. How do the reptilians connect with transhumanization as well as the new artificial intelligences that are being brought forward these days?
That's part of their long-term strategy, is to create robotic individuals. Once we become cyborgs, that is part human and part machine, we can be plugged into a central computer, and so we can be totally controlled at that point. So once the planet, we as humans are spiritually controlled. We're spiritually connected to the higher dimensions. Once they get rid of all the spiritual humans on the planet, or most of them, and replace them with hybrids or with cyborgs or with robots, they essentially then will control the planet completely. So transhumanism is that's the latest form of robotic creation, but robotics is accelerating so fast now, and artificial intelligence is growing so fast that pretty soon we will be dealing with robots on a regular basis, just as though they were humans, just like in the movie Blade Runner, which was really a very prophetic movie, very prophetic book by Philip K. Dick.
It sounds as if we're talking about a mixture of Blade Runner as well as some other movies, including Star Trek with the Borg, the collective.
Well, Star Trek is the good outcome. When we're cruising, when the human race has reached a point of maturity where we can cruise the galaxy and help our fellow humans, that's the good guys. The Blade Runner is the other extreme.
Right.
And if you recall, in Blade Runner, the only way they could tell a human from a robot was through a very, very sophisticated eye test. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
That was the only way they could do it. They could determine, because the robots were so human-like. And I think Philip K. Dick has written so many prophetic books. That was one of his best ones, by far.
Where do you think we stand now when it comes to the possible takeover of humanity by the reptilians? Are we at the point of no return yet?
Well, I just wrote an article for New Dawn magazine, and I named it a time of crisis, because I see this now as a time of where we're sort of evenly matched now, almost, because we are so large in number, 7 billion. They have a very relatively small contingent here on this planet, living underground, very, very deep underground, as far down as 200 miles, actually. Alex Collier says it's only about 2,000, but I think that's deceptive, because we know they have spacefaring technology. We know they can travel back and forth to Draco if they choose to. They could have brought in a lot more by now. So we don't know the numbers. But we do know that we're at a sort of an equal point right now, where humans have really started to become very sophisticated in many ways, especially spiritually. It's not religion essentially. per se. It's just spirituality. We're growing in spirituality. We're becoming more mature, spiritually mature. And as we do that, we're out of reach. They can't touch us anymore. And then we can start to take over, and then we will become Star Trek. We will become Star Trek because Star Trek is our future and should be our future. And I believe it will be our future.
The Reptilians, could they be looked upon as the Nephilim in the Bible?
In the fallen angels?
Yes.
You mean the fallen angels?
Yeah.
They could be. Yes, they could be. And I think they've been confused with them. I think there's a lot of confusion. I don't think Sitchin really had the right story, by the way.
Okay.
So he didn't really talk about the Reptilians because he didn't know about them or he didn't want to get involved in that story. I don't know. I do think that since the Reptilians can be very, very tall, up to 18 feet tall, that they could be considered giants, yes, possibility, but I don't know for sure. I can't answer that question, really.
Do you think there's any connection between the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot and reptilians, or are these two different species?
I think they're two different species. I think the Sasquatch were here, like the Reptilians, for many, many thousands of years, probably living underground. I don't think they come from another planet at all.
And when it comes to the, let's just look at some of the most recent UFO cases, and let's start at Roswell. Was Roswell a crash of a reptilian gray ship?
No, I made that point in my book, Secret Journey to Planet Circle. They were aliens from the star system Zeta Reticuli.
Ah, okay.
And they were nice guys. They've never abducted anybody. They're not trying to control us. They were simply here to explore Earth and our solar system and to bring back with them body parts, if they could find them, for their experimentations in biotechnology and all that. But they're not our enemies. In fact, they have helped us a lot with our technology since Roswell. And we have actually traveled to their star system on alien spacecraft. So that's a whole different story.
Whole different story. Yeah, because it's, I'm sure people are listening tonight and they're saying, my gosh, reptilians, grays, UFOs. How could the government and other world powers deny the existence with so much evidence of there?
Well, they're very good at keeping that under wraps. They can the way they color the news and color the media, the movies that we see and the TV, they have a way of making it seem all harmless and ridiculous. And by ridiculing, every time an announcer on television mentions a UFO or an alien, they snicker. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
There's always that little snicker that goes with it. And the little laugh, as if to say, if you believe this, you're crazy. And that's what they do. They've done it for many, many years, and it works. Hitler was able to keep people propagandized through similar techniques. The way he talked when he gave public speeches, the same idea. They're very expert at that.
Len, we've got about 30 seconds left. What's your final message for the listening audience of the X Zone tonight?
I think if they do buy my book, and they can get it anywhere, they should read that last appendix called The Path to Victory, because that's the key. That's the key to the whole story. And since it was written by an extraterrestrial, I think that should be of great interest to them. It's the key to how we can overcome their control over us. That's what we need to do.
Can I say it's the key to survival?
As a species, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, not as a species, because humans are all over the galaxy now. It's key to survival on this particular planet, this particular solar system.
Len Kasten, thank you so much for joining us, Len. Always nice talking to you. Take care of yourself. Congratulations with your book, and I look forward to the next time we meet back here in the X Zone.
Thanks a lot, Rob. It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too, Len. Take care of yourself. X Zone Nation, Len Kasten has been my guest this hour. His website is www.et-secrethistory.net, and Len is the author of Alien World Order, The Reptilian Plan to Divide and Conquer the Human Race. It's published by Bear & Company, and it's available all over the place, online and in your favorite bookstore. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.